You know what to do. So why can't you move? Why are you still overthinking, still delaying, still paralyzing? Still saying, I will do it when I'm ready. Let me tell you the truth. You do not have a motivation problem. You have an identity problem. And until you see that, you will keep blaming yourself for patterns that were never about laziness in the first place. Welcome to the podcast Involved, where science meets spirit and turns into strategy. I'm Violetta, business doctor for the exponential age, and let's discuss the identity. Maybe this sounds familiar. I know what to do, but I'm still not doing. I know what I should be doing, the favorite word of many people. They tell you, they give you advices, and you kind of keep repeating, I know, I know. So why are you not doing it? That is the pain. That's not you. You want to post, but you don't. You want to launch the product, but you delay. You want to delegate, but you take control back. You want to lead differently, but in the big moment, you become the old version of yourself again. So you tell yourself, watch that. I need more discipline. I need more accountability. I need motivation. Wrong diagnosis. Because if the action in front of you clashes with the identity inside you, you know who wins? The identity will always and ever will win. This is why it's so powerful. Every time identity wins. Let's make this simple. Your goals are not the deepest part of you. Your plans are not the deepest part of you. Your habits are not even the deepest part of you. Under all of this and what it's built on is the identity. It's the operating system, the beliefs, the patterns, the emotional memory, and survival code that quietly decides what feels safe and what feels dangerous and what feels like you. So if your identity says, I must be perfect to be respected, I must know everything to be a good leader, then visible, messy action will feel unsafe. If your identity says, I must be in control to be safe, you won't do any step. You will become micromanager, even if you don't know. And it's not the problem of micromanagement, it's the problem of the safety. It's the problem of identity that it runs the show. If your identity says, I must already know before I move, the creation in the unknown feel unsafe, feels insecure, feel like impossible, feel like not ready. This is exactly why smart people stay stuck in getting ready, preparing, getting more of education, more of courses, more of everything. Not because they are weak, because the nervous system keeps rejecting actions that do not match the identity it has been trained to protect. And this is why willpower does not work for long. Willpower tries to push behavior. Try to push, and you work harder, you adapt more, but your identity decided what your body will allow. And let me give you a real example. You cannot create a business from identity of waiting for permission, fighting with people around, fighting with your bosses, expecting certainty, having the salary every single day, and being pushed with the deadlines. I know because I have been working in the corporate world for 15 years. I follow the pattern. I build my identity around that, from one university, second university, get a job, get the next job, build a house, have a kids, have a husband, have a dog. I've done it all. And then I've decided I want to start a company. Some people will call that identity crisis. I actually follow the young version when he says it's actually the chance for the second life. And he calls that individuation process rather than identity crisis. You may even think about jumping out of the plane. I did that. Didn't work. Flying on the paraglides. I did that. And you go that because you're looking for something you already have inside. And exactly the same, when you're building your new identity, the old identity, the old programming has to dissolve some way. It has to die. And the process of dying is extremely painful sometimes. It doesn't have to be, because when I was going through that process, I experienced it. And I worked with a lot of people who are in the transitions, who wants to reinvent and move into the next level. Part of you has to die. And then there is a question, who are you? Who are you? Who am I? Without my job title, head of innovation in one of the biggest Swiss banks. Who am I without the big logo and open door to every single conference? Who am I without this big, constant salary coming through? Who are you? And I know that many of you may answer, this is what some people may think, but it's not me. I also thought that it's not me. But when you face reality, when you face those moments, you start to understand, who am I without all of that? And some people will call it the crisis. I call it rebirth. And when I was going through that process, I created the program called Rebirth. It's actually the identity change over the 66 days. And it's natural and it's extremely powerful. And if you are in that stage when you're going through it, let me know. I wish that nobody will have to go through that pain and that grievance. And it can be easier. It can be really like walking the park. So yes, you cannot create the business from the identity of employer. You cannot be a mom or father or parent from the identity of a single person. Identity decides what your body will move through. So for example, the vegan person, somebody who doesn't eat meat, it's not struggling with, how I cannot eat meat and it's so bad for me, so hard. They are just not eating it because this is who they are. And exactly the same is with the people who run. You may know the situation when you promise yourself, oh, I'm going to run tomorrow, or I'm going to start to run on Monday. I'm going to do this. And you plan, you prepare, you buy your shoes, and everything seems to be like perfect. But the day comes and the weather is not good. And you feel like, oh, I don't feel like running. This weather is bad. I'm ill. I don't feel good. But the runner, he just put his shoes and goes. If he cannot run, he probably will walk. This is like the most important and most powerful sentence. I want to give it to you. The identity crisis, it's like the awakening of from I think I should be, I want to be, and from what I really, really want with all my body. And some people would say, okay, it's the alignment between the head and the heart. It's alignment between conscious, what I should be doing, what is right, what is logic, with subconscious. But the subconscious is not what you want, but actually what is the identity, what is the programming you're running on. And those crucial moments are the key elements to successfully fulfilling your dreams and moving where you want to be. The question is, who are you becoming? Leaders need to understand something even bigger. Your identity is also contagious. It's contagious. It's like when I look at this mirror, but also my team, my people, my family getting out of that, getting with it. They feel it. That's the energy. That's the magnetism. That's the law of attraction. So you're not only looking at mirror for yourself, but actually what energy you're spreading. If your identity says, I cannot struggle, your people will feel that too. Your nervous system is tight. The room gets tight. Your identity does not stay inside you. It literally becomes the culture. Why it's so difficult to change the culture? That's the exact reason, the identity behind. And the identity of programming of more than one person. I live in the family where we speak 5 different languages. We are sitting at the table with 5 different cultures. Imagine this for a company of 100 people, 100,000 people. That's the challenge. But that will be a different podcast. Now we're talking about the crisis of identity and who you really are. So what does science tell us about it? And what the spirit tells us about it? You are not your fear. You are not your role. You are not the story you had to build to survive. Because the identity is set of programming, set of beliefs that has been created for you for the survival. So as the 5 years old or 7 years old, you've created certain beliefs to protect yourself, to help you with something. And I also have access to a human minds because I'm running the therapy sessions and we go into the subconscious mind and my clients having the conversations with those beliefs. And when you realize, when you go into the root of the belief that you have created being 7 years or 5 years old, and you realize that, you see that those patterns and beliefs and exactly those issues and challenges are keeping you stuck in your problem. That's like the biggest discovery of your life. And this is also why I get into this work, because it's fascinating that our 7 and 5 years old are running the show. And we have this operating system installed for the manufacturing era, for linear growth. And this is why I'm doing the doctorate on the exponential growth, when people really can update and upgrade their own operating system. So there is the self that was installed through the life, through the pressure, pain, survival culture, childhood, achievement. And then there is the self of consciously chose. In my work, I call the 2 versions of the self. One is the installed version and one is the involved version. That one which says, stay safe, stay careful, stay in control, do what you have always done. And the involved self says, be here, be conscious, be aligned, create from the truth, do what you want, enjoy the life. And it's innovative, it's creative, it's really living the life today as not in the future. The old identity is not bad. It's just simply protecting you. But once protected, you may now be the very thing preventing your next life. So there is a survival mode you live in. And most of us is living in survival. There is always something to survive from lack of time, from lack of understanding, from surviving, from feeling our own emotions. It literally kills the creation. And the business truth is here. This is exactly what I see with leaders, founders, and CEOs. They know what to do. They have a plan. They have experience. They have intelligence. They have opportunity, but they cannot move. Why? Because the future is asking for a version of them that the current identity doesn't know how to be. A founder is still identifying as employee and waiting for permission. The leader who always must be the smartest person in the room and cannot show something incomplete and carry everything. The CEO who believes that must carry everything alone, must fix every single problem, build the business, that everything depends on their exhaustion. That's the bottleneck. Not the strategy, the identity. The world is moving fast. Technology is moving faster. exponentially. Expectations are moving fast, but most humans are still trying to lead from the code installed years ago. That is why the answer is not more pressure, not more adaptation, but the answer is upgrade an operating system. The operating system that is future ready, the identity which is future ready, not which is scared and driven by fear. So now you know, and you have a diagnosis. It's not the laziness, it's not the discipline, it's not the lack of ambition. It's the identity. It's the identity that is inside you. Maybe the 5, 7 years old, installed. So let me give you not only diagnosis, but I will also give you 3 steps where most people go back. First, step 1, name the installed self-view. You cannot change what you cannot see. So start here, finish those 3 sentences. I must always, da, 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 otherwise, da, da, da. Finish the sentence, you can do it below the video, and I will help you and my respond into those. People like me don't, da, 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 da. How many times have you heard, I don't do this, or I don't belong, or people like me don't do this? If I don't do that, they will think I am lazy, I am not competent, I am da, da, da. Finish your I am. Whatever came up, that it's not truth. That is simple programming. It's some of your beliefs. The same as like, the money don't live on the trees, or big boys don't cry, or that's the good one. On the top is lonely. How often do you feel lonely being the top leader or the CEO of the company? Or I must be always prepared, otherwise I will look stupid. People like me don't ask for a help. Or I must know everything. If I don't know, means da da da. All this self-talk, it's installed. It's not yours. When you realize that and see that, it's like the whole world is completely new. So the first step is seeing, because you cannot change something you don't see it, name the pattern. So then the second step is design the involved self, the version you want to be, the version of conscious. Like most people try to change actions without changing the identity. And we say, it's so easy. I cannot do that. There is a certain way to change the identity. As I mentioned to you, I've done that and I've experimented with that. And lots of my clients have a huge and great results when it comes into it. So yes, that's possible. If you don't change the identity, that's not transformation. That's the temporary change. Ask, what do I need to become for this to feel natural? Not I need to post more. I'm someone who shares my thinking because it helps people. I need to delegate, but I'm a leader who grows people through trust. Not I need to stop overthinking, but I'm someone who creates clarity by moving. And I talk about it in also previous podcasts, so have a look on it. That is different because now you are not forcing behavior. You are choosing a self. And the step 3 is tolerate the identity gap. So this is the hard part. Will be always a period when you will be frustrated about where you are and where you want to be, the mistakes. But when you see them, it's like, hey, I see it. That's the moment of the truth. This new version doesn't feel really fully you because it needs the integration. It's that sits in that identity gap and feels uncomfortable because your nervous system still trusts the familiar more than the true, the one you want to create. So what's happened? You take one brave step, then the body panics and the old voice says, see, this isn't you, go back, hide, because discomfort is not always a danger. Sometimes discomfort is feeling of an old identity, losing control. This is the place where most people quit. Do not quit here. Stay here. Because the space between who you are And who you are becoming is where the real transformation happens. So here is your prescription from the business doctor for the next 7 days. Day 1, write 3 identity sentences. Day 2, notice where that identity runs your work, leadership and relationship. Day 3, write 1 new identity sentence beginning with I am someone who, whatever the identity you want to become. Day 4, live 1 full day from that identity. Day 5, notice where the old identity pull you back and you feel like, ah. Day 6, tell 1 person who you are becoming. It's scary, I know. Day 7, review the evidence. What shifted? That's your first upgrade. Not perfection, just a proof that it's working, the 1 little step. Proof that a different version of you is possible. So how we do it in here and how I always do it in the process from me to we. So identity is not just personal, it's relational. When you change the identity, you lead from, other people feel it. And that's the energy level. From fear, people feel more space, people feel more empowered, people start owning more. If you stop performing certainty, people become more honest. This is why your inner work is never only about you. And there is a very famous sentence that when you change yourself, the entire world changes. And it's not only the woo-woo spiritual saying or personal development. There is a big quantum physics behind, because the observer determines what is seen. There are different timelines, different possibilities. And the version who you are right now determines what actions you are. What kind of family you grow, what kind of a company you build. And then the filter around you changes. This is exactly how the creation starts. By becoming that person. Let me leave you with this. You don't need more motivation. You need an answer to this question. Who am I becoming? Because if your futures require a self-current identity that you cannot hold, because if you currently are not who you want to be, and you see that, your work is not to shame yourself and say, oh, I'm still so bad, I'm still not good enough, I'm still doing that. Your work is to upgrade. Your work is to look in the mirror. Your work is to upgrade to the person you want to be. Are you that person, the identity that is still holding on the pain and protection and the safety, or the one which is aware of it but creates? It's ready to build what comes next. And in the world that everything changes faster than human can really adapt, we have to start to do things differently. Stop adapting, start creating. Take control back. If you want to have that identity upgrade journey, the rebirth of becoming, write in the comments, upgrade, and I will give you a link in the description what is happening. And we will go deeper in there. I'm the business doctor for the exponential age. This is the Involved podcast. And stop performing who you thought you want to be and start creating who you are here to become.